Alright, my name is Chuks Onwuneme. Name of my company is called PersonifyIt. And what it is getting people around the world to taking specific actions for social good anywhere they are. So we use a combination of things like, mobile technology and the web to sort of link people with similar people with interests around social good anywhere they are in the world. And basically we use all of these sort of channels that people already love and know how to use and enjoy using, right? We're just channeling all of those things towards making people take specific actions and letting them know what they can do, how they can do it, how they can connect with people around them who are similarly interested in those things around taking these specific actions for social good. Interesting. So the largest hurdle for me personally had been sort of crossing the gap between a large corporation and a startup environment. My background, basically, I worked at Nokia for about 9 years building smartphones. Nokia, a large, gigantic, international company. So I did travel around the world, and so I was used to coming from a corporate, ish type environment. Now I'm more of a startup, and making that transition was one of my biggest hurdles. Because you're sort of ingrained to thinking that there's this large corporation that can support you in everything you're doing. You got to go through the hoops. But at a startup, you got to think a little bit differently. Figure out what exactly you want to do. Know that you don't have as much resources, to go out there and do those things. So sort of turning the tide between thinking as an employee of a large company to a startup was my major hurdle, but I believe I have overcome that because I'm now a startup and enjoy it. What has tripped me up? I think the biggest thing personally was would be basically the idea of what we're trying to do, right? We have a lot of people who are really looking for what to do, and what has really tripped me up would be people who are passionate about doing things and they don't really have ways of getting to do those things. Not having a solution for that really was what kind of tripped me up over the years, because it was a personal problem I had myself, and I thought if no one's going to solve that problem, I am going to solve that problem. So I'm glad I took that leap, and it's been really fulfilling for me so far. Being around startups, being around people who are doing startups has been very useful for me, and the way I sort of solved that issue for myself was moving. So I'm from Dallas. Basically, I went to school there, worked there, and it was my base for such a long time. But I moved to the West Coast. I moved out to Seattle just because there's a larger density of people who are trying to do what I'm trying to do. So just being around those people I can sort of bounce ideas off of has been very useful for me, and I think that's been my largest transition really, and what has really helped me so far. Product launch. I mean, yesterday I did a demo of first public preview of the Personify application, and just the reactions I got from people was very encouraging. People have been waiting for this for such a long time, and I'm glad we're solving that problem. So product launch, I mean, we've got in probably about a couple of weeks or less, we'll have our product out in the market, and that's where we are right now. I think what I'm trying to achieve, I have a real passion for using all of these things that we've built and making the world a better place. I spent so much of my life building technology, and when I traveled around the world, I've seen so much problems, and these problems are things that can be solved by just simple actions that people can take. Yet no one is doing those things, right? Either because they're shy, or they don't have enough sort of confidence, or they don't know who else is interested in doing those same things. It's like no one ever takes that next step just because they have all these impediments, right? And when I look at those problems and I look at the things that we can actually do by bringing people together, that is my inspiration. That's what gets me going every day. Putting a smile on someone's face, somewhere down the street in Austin here, or like somewhere in China or in Indonesia. That's what inspires me. Knowing that we can do this with technology, it's something that keeps me going. Who inspires me? You know, I think it's that kid somewhere who truly wants to make a difference, and you know, goes out of his way to find out how he can sort of go out there and figure out what he needs to do to get to where he needs to be. Because, you know, that really was the story of my life. And when I see kids coming up who are doing the same things, you know, basically like they're starting movements, you know, they're starting all of these good things all around the world. You know, look at those kids, right? I get really inspired. And knowing fully well that what I'm building would actually help them, you know, reach out and do some good. That is my inspiration.